There are people who enter your life briefly and leave behind a burden when they depart. Even after they're gone, their energy remains with you. They reveal themselves through the sudden exhaustion after a meeting, through the vague unease in your inner voice. Even if your mind can't make sense of it, your soul has already begun to speak. But do you notice these things? In the next few minutes, we will examine 7 signs together. Rudolf Steiner's anthroposophy presents certain signs not to judge, but to make the invisible visible. Rudolf Steiner's anthroposophy presents certain signs not to judge, but to make the invisible visible. These signs help you realize that certain connections are silently consuming you rather than nourishing you. This is not paranoia. It is trusting the truth you have always known deep down. The truths revealed here may change your view of the world. They may even hurt. But awareness is the first step toward freedom. According to Steiner, every human encounter carves a mark into the etheric book of your soul. Some are light, some are chaos. Are you ready to see what writings are in your life now? Let's start with what your body knows before your mind catches up. The etheric body, the invisible layer surrounding your physical form, responds to frequencies you cannot see. Rudolf Steiner taught that this etheric body is your protector, forming your first line of defense against toxic energies, the sudden exhaustion you feel around certain people, the unexplained tension in your muscles, or the rising feeling inside you that says, "Get away from here." None of this is coincidence. This is the language of your etheric body, which is much more sensitive than your everyday awareness. Looking back, you can see it. An inexplicable discomfort after encountering them. Dreams that seep into your night and wake you with restlessness in the morning. That fundamental sense of wrongness lingering inside you, even if your logic says otherwise. Even if logic says otherwise, the feeling that something fundamental is wrong. Your soul has already answered. Why are you still trying to rationalize what your deepest self rejected long ago? First sign, spiritual fatigue. The first sign is that inexplicable fatigue that settles deep into your soul after spending time with them. Steiner says that some souls never learn to create their own inner light. Therefore, they feed off the spiritual energy of others. Unwittingly, you become their battery. This process is invisible, but its effect is very real. These individuals, stuck in their moral development, consciously or unconsciously, form ethereal bonds that behave like parasites, and these bonds drain the life force of everyone close to them. After talking to them, you feel drained, not tired, drained. This is not poetic language. It is the result of real interaction between subtle bodies. They always want more attention, more reassurance, more from you, but they give nothing in return. What they offer you is only a false exchange. There is no reciprocity at its core. As time passes, you realize that losses are slowly accumulating. The things you loved, they bore you now. Creativity, gone. You feel like you are living someone else's script. These are all parts of the same chain of signs. Second sign, distortion of reality. The second sign appears when reality itself is distorted. Rudolf Steiner said that lies not only distort words, but also distort both the liars and your astral body. The astral body holds your perception, your understanding of reality. If someone constantly challenges your memory, denies your feelings, rewrites events to fit their own story, they are attacking your astral body. They are attacking your inner truth. You try to express real pain. Somehow you apologize for things you didn't do. You question your own sanity. The mirror of communication shatters. Steiner taught that everyone creates their own inner reality. However, if someone deliberately distorts your reality for their own benefit, it is psychological violence. People who are stuck in their moral development project their shadows onto you. They force you to carry only what belongs to them. Guilt becomes their weapon. Two conflicting realities fight for space. If you constantly defend your version of reality against this person, you are not in a relationship. You are in a battle for the truth itself. Think about the energy you expend to justify your point of view. The energy that should be spent on growth is wasted defending the fundamental reality. Third sign, feeling no regret. The third sign manifests itself in the complete absence of genuine regret. Anthroposophy explains that true self-development depends on a single ability: recognizing the pain you have caused and transforming it through awareness. Some people never reach this stage. When you point out the harm they have done, there is no genuine acceptance. Instead, you encounter detailed justifications, defensive attacks, or a cold, empty stare. Steiner speaks of two aspects of the human being: the social self we show to the world, the mask, and the higher self, our spiritual essence. Malicious people possess only this mask. They play the role of humanity without truly experiencing it. Because they lack the ability to reflect on themselves. Destructive behavior patterns repeat endlessly. Yet real change requires inner evolution. As Steiner teaches, true morality emerges when you can feel another's pain as your own. People whose moral values have become dulled have never developed this spiritual organ. Repair cannot occur without genuine remorse. Without repair, there is no growth. Without growth, only stagnant, unclosed karmic cycles remain. You can easily see this when you observe the patterns. Does this person repeat the same hurtful behaviors? Do they truly learn from the consequences? Or, while different versions of the same theme are experienced each time, is the blame always directed at others? The inability to see from another's perspective is not merely a psychological failure. It is a spiritual numbness. Consciousness is stuck at a point where its development has ceased. Fourth sign, systematic isolation. The fourth sign manifests as deliberate, gradual isolation. Steiner observed that human evolution is fundamentally social. The self only becomes aware of itself in relation to others. Destructive people instinctively know that their control increases when you are alone. They subtly sow seeds of discord. Seemingly harmless comments about your friends, family, or partner turn into clouds of suspicion and distance. Slowly, you notice your support network shrinking. Your most nourishing relationships are always poisoned in some way by misunderstandings involving this person. The invisible siege tightens. The more isolated you become, the more dependent you become on the person orchestrating your isolation, a prison built with subtlety and reasonable denial. Steiner said that you can understand the quality of a soul by the garden of relationships it cultivates. Observe. Does this person form deep, lasting friendships? Or do they leave behind broken pieces and wounds? When your healthy connections come under systematic attack, your etheric body loses the connection points that hold it steady. You become vulnerable. Your mind becomes confused. Your reference points disappear. Fifth sign, hidden joy in your pain. The fifth sign manifests as a secret pleasure in the suffering of others. Rudolf Steiner observed that souls that do not integrate the Luciferic and ahrimanic forces derive an unconscious satisfaction from the failures of others. A sparkle appears in this person's eyes when you share your difficulties. When you suffer, there's a barely perceptible revival. They feed energetically on your pain. False empathy is displayed theatrically. They may express concern, offer help, But in deeper layers, you sense a hidden pleasure there. There is no genuine compassion. Steiner taught that envy is an acid that corrodes the astral body. When someone cannot bear your growth, happiness, or talents, they act under a deep ahrimanic influence. Sabotage appears as care. If followed, it leads to advice that will cause you to fail. Concerns that shake your confidence. Warnings that paralyze your creative courage. People who are truly spiritually developing rejoice in the happiness of others. Those who are morally undeveloped feel threatened. Competition. Resentment. The moment you achieve something important is the moment this person's true nature reveals itself. By not celebrating or with subtle condescension, how does this person react to your successes? With genuine joy or with hidden contempt? Sixth sign. Emotional manipulation and constant victimhood. The sixth sign manifests as emotional manipulation cloaked in a state of perpetual victimhood. Steiner observed that souls under the influence of ahrimanic forces invert moral reality. Malicious people turn every conflict into a theater where they are always the victim. The aggressor acts like the victim. You set a necessary boundary, and inexplicably, you find yourself consoling the person who should be admitting their mistake. Reality has been skillfully reversed. Guilt manipulation saturates every interaction. Whenever you try to have an honest conversation about destructive behavior, emotional crises erupt, veiled threats, dramatic breakdowns that shift the focus elsewhere. In Steiner's cosmology, spiritual evolution requires every being to take responsibility for the consequences of their actions. People in moral stagnation never take responsibility. They only spread the blame. The pattern of endless mistreatment repeats itself. They were always betrayed. They were always misunderstood. They were always abandoned. Yet they never examine the common denominator in all these stories: themselves. When confronted, they appear so fragile and hurt that they trigger a defense mechanism, leaving you unable to defend your own truth. Role reversal as a survival strategy. How often have you withdrawn your legitimate concerns because the other side suddenly appeared to collapse? Seventh sign, the destruction of creative potential. Part 1. The seventh and most important sign manifests itself in the sabotage of your creative potential. Rudolf Steiner taught that every soul reincarnates with specific tasks. People with malicious tendencies, whether conscious or not, prevent you from fulfilling your evolutionary purpose. When you are about to take an important step, such as a creative project, a career change, or a new and healthy relationship, this person creates obstacles, dramas, paralyzing crises. Steiner warned against those who hold others captive under the pretext of care. This person uses false concerns to keep you small, safe, controllable. There is an invisible battle between the direction your soul desires and the direction this person forces upon you. They do not accept you having your own path, a path that does not include them or serve them. Steiner defined will as the fundamental spiritual power. This person systematically attacks your ability to want, desire, and dream until you become a diminished version of yourself. The pattern of interrupted growth cycles repeats. Every time you're about to complete an important transformation, a crisis fabricated by this person cuts you off. You start over. Again and again. They plan your life. They determine your next steps. They define what is possible and impossible for you, as if your destiny were their property, rather than your spiritual responsibility. The colonization of your future. How much of your life do you truly live according to your own impulses? How much is shaped by this person's expectations, fears, and agendas? The dulling of creative will is not only psychologically destructive, it is a spiritual crime committed against your incarnation purpose. Steiner emphasized that every soul comes into this world with intentions that only it can fulfill. When someone systematically prevents this fulfillment, it is not just your current well-being that is at risk. It is the meaning of your entire incarnation. Now the question arises, what will you do with this knowledge? Merely becoming aware is not enough. Rudolf Steiner taught that freedom begins when we name the truth without fear of the consequences. Identifying a destructive person in your life is an act that requires spiritual courage. But courage must be accompanied by action. This is not about hatred or revenge. It is about understanding that some souls have not yet developed the ability to form a genuine relationship. You cannot force anyone's evolution. What you can do is set spiritual boundaries. Steiner spoke of the importance of etheric hygiene. Just as you would not allow someone to pollute your physical body, you should not allow your subtle bodies to be harmed. Sometimes the strongest response is to quietly walk away. No explanation, no dramatic confrontations, just consciously withdrawing your energy from that toxic relationship space. This is not running away. It is protecting yourself and staying true to your own evolution. When you remove the destructive noise of a malicious being, you create a space where you can hear your inner voice again, your true desires, your spiritual mission. Steiner valued the ability to be with oneself without needing external validation. Being alone but whole is infinitely more valuable than being accompanied but fragmented. Forgiveness is possible and even necessary for your own freedom. However, forgiveness does not mean reconnecting. You can spiritually forgive, release the karmic burden, but you do not have to allow them to cause you further harm. Your spiritual journey is your responsibility. Keeping a destructive person close is a betrayal of your higher self's call. Growth does not seek stagnation. Like a plant that must be pruned to bloom again, your soul regains its vitality, creativity, and purpose when you remove the things that suffocate it. Reconnecting with your true self doesn't happen overnight. It is a gentle awakening process. You will experience moments that awaken your doubts. Was I too harsh in my judgment? Was I too sensitive? These doubts are often echoes of manipulative voices that have distorted your perception for a long time. Trust what your body knows. Trust the fading fatigue. Trust the returning clarity. Steiner taught that true knowledge is not merely intellectual. True knowledge permeates all levels of being: the physical body, the etheric body, the astral body, and the self. When all these levels agree to reject a connection, this rejection is not weakness. It is the voice of wisdom. It's the voice of your integrated spirit protecting you. In the days and weeks ahead, as you digest these realizations, you may notice your life being reorganized. Relationships you thought were important are emerging as burdens. People you barely noticed are showing their true kindness. Space is opening up for connections that nourish rather than drain. This is no coincidence. It is a natural consequence of freeing yourself from energy vampires. The dignity of conscious. Solitude is an underappreciated quality. Our culture pushes us toward community at all costs. Yet in life, especially after recognizing and eliminating toxic connections, there are stages where solitude is not a punishment. Solitude is a sacred space for renewal. In this space, you can relearn who you are without the distortions of others. Steiner often spoke of the necessity of distinguishing between cosmic impulses and ahrimanic deceptions. Malicious people often represent ahrimanic forces. They bind you to the illusion of security through materialism, fear, control, and submission. Freeing yourself from such influences is not just a personal matter. It contributes to the overall evolution of human consciousness. When a person breaks free from destructive bonds and returns to their authentic self, they send waves into the collective field. Other souls sense this possibility. They are encouraged to examine their own chains. Your healing is never just yours. it radiates outward. There may be moments when you feel guilty. Our conditioning teaches us that goodness means enduring everything, accepting everyone, always forgiving, and staying connected. But this is a distortion. In Steiner's sense, true goodness means fidelity to truth, fidelity to your evolutionary path, faithfulness to the light forces within you, without compromising with darkness or becoming dark yourself. You owe no one your destruction. You owe no one abandoning your mission. You owe no one betraying your higher self. What you owe is respect for every soul's path, even those trapped in destructiveness. But respect does not mean becoming their victim. It means setting clear boundaries based on understanding, not hatred. The 7 signs we examined are not just warning signals. They are tools for self-knowledge. Each sign reveals something not only about the other person, but also about yourself. Your willingness to sacrifice your perception, your fear of loneliness, your hope that people will change if you give enough. These realizations can be painful. But the pain that leads to awareness is sacred pain. Steiner distinguished between darkening pain and illuminating pain. The former keeps you trapped in the victim role. The latter makes you a conscious creator of your destiny. The choice is yours. You can ignore these signs. You can return to comfortable unconsciousness. You can continue to hope that everything will somehow resolve itself. Or you can gather your courage to accept the truth and act accordingly. Not with violence, not with drama, but with the quiet determination of a soul that knows its worth. Your life is precious. Your incarnation is important. Your spiritual mission is too important to be sabotaged by people who haven't integrated their own darkness. You are not here to carry the unresolved shadows of others. You are here to realize your own light. When you notice that someone in your life carries these signs, it is not the end. It is a beginning. The beginning of your return to yourself. The beginning of regaining the wholeness of your soul. The beginning of a life defined not by the destructive impulses of others, but by the creative impulses of your own higher self. The silence that follows the storm offers the most fertile ground. In this silence, free from toxic voices, you can finally hear what your soul has been trying to tell you all along. You can take the reins of your life back into your own hands. You can choose with whom to share your energy. You can build connections that uplift you, not drag you down. This journey is not easy. There will be moments when uncertainty weighs heavily. Loneliness will sometimes descend upon you like a shadow. There will be times when you question whether you made a mistake. In such moments, return to those 7 signs. Remember the fatigue, the distortion, the absence of regret, the loneliness, the hidden joy within your pain, the manipulation, the sabotage of your purpose. Think about what you lost while that person was in your life, and notice what returns when you make room for them. Vitality, clarity, creativity, joy. That silent but powerful bond rebuilt with your inner guidance. None of this is coincidence. It is the natural rebirth of a spirit no longer poisoned. Steiner repeatedly reminded us that spiritual development is an act of freedom. No one can do this for you. No one can force you to be conscious. But at the same time, you must not allow anyone to hinder you. When someone tries to stop your development, removing them from your life is not cruelty. It is a necessity. You deserve relationships that celebrate your growth, not fear it. You deserve people who see your sensitivity as a gift, not a weakness. You deserve connections where truth is possible, mistakes are accepted, and growth happens together. Such relationships exist, but you won't find them as long as your energy is tied up with those who drain you. Every toxic connection you maintain takes the place of a nourishing one. That is the spiritual mathematics of life. You cannot connect with darkness and light at the same time and expect the light to fully emerge. The choice before you is not a moral question of good and evil in the traditional sense. It is a matter of alignment. Which forces do you want to align with? With those who nourish life, or those who consume it? With those who honor truth, or those who distort it? With those who support your mission, or those who sabotage it? Your decision does not just write your personal story. It also co-writes the great book of collective evolution. Every time you choose light, you strengthen the forces of light in the cosmos. Every time you sever destructive connections, you weaken the power of ahrimanic deception. You are more powerful than you think. The fact that you have followed these words this far shows that there is a readiness within you. You are ready to see, to understand, to take action. This readiness is the seed of your freedom. Nurture it, protect it, allow it to grow. In the coming days, you may have the opportunity to apply these insights. Situations where the 7 signs become clear. When this happens, take a breath. Center yourself. Remember that you are not compelled to remain in connections that destroy you. Protecting yourself is not selfish. Remember that your soul has a mission more important than the comfort of others. The spiritual world supports those who have the courage to follow their own truth. Steiner assured us many times that we are not alone in our struggle. There are forces that accompany us when we truly strive to evolve. Trust this. Trust the guidance that comes from layers deeper than your ordinary mind can reach. Now that you know these 7 signs, understand how malicious people operate and the traces they leave in your soul. The responsibility is yours. You can use this knowledge to liberate yourself, or you can ignore it and continue to suffer. The choice is always yours. I invite you to share your thoughts on this topic in the comments. Perhaps you have had similar experiences. Perhaps you are now noticing patterns you hadn't noticed before. Perhaps you are at a difficult decision-making stage. Whatever your path may be, you are not alone. Other souls are on this journey too. Let's create a space where these truths can be shared, where awareness becomes a community. If these words have stirred something within you, if they have helped you see more clearly, subscribe to this channel. This is a place for those who are ready to look deeper, who see their sensitivity as a strength, who take their spiritual growth seriously. You won't find superficial solutions here, but you will find companions who will accompany you on the path to your true nature. Your soul already knows what it needs. It has sent you signs. It has led you to these words. Now is the time to decide whether you will trust it. Now is the time to decide whether you have the courage to follow what you know deep down. Now is the time to decide whether you are ready to let go of the things that prevent you from becoming who you are meant to be. The journey begins with a single step, by accepting the truth, by deciding to prioritize your own evolution over the comfort of false connections. This step may seem small, but it opens up an entire universe of new possibilities. Take this step. Your soul is waiting.